Major League Baseball is so back. So are we. Happy Friday, everyone. It's the Prop Queen, Ariel Epstein. Going through the next hour, we've got Major League Baseball headlines for the first time in a long time. NBA props, Prop Queen Edges coming up at the end of the show. Mid-Major Matt also going to join us in about 4 minutes. He's going to tell us about his Major League Baseball thoughts, how the New York Mets continue to be idiots, the Phillies also idiots, the Yankees don't exist, and the Dodgers are still the king of baseball. Are they ruining baseball? I'll let you know, because I don't think so. And of course, we've got NFL action that I've said yesterday. I gave you early edges in the NFL market. If you haven't done so already, the Prop Queen guide to the divisional round of the playoffs is on the propqueen.com newsletter. So you can go check it out and see every prop on the board that has an edge in the offensive player market. Major League Baseball does not need to shake up Joseph Rodriguez. Here's why. Everyone has an equal opportunity somewhat in Major League Baseball. Now, there's obviously the top tier of money. The Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers. And yes, the Dodgers are getting everyone. But what are they doing that's different than everybody else? They're clearly really good salespeople. The way that George Steinbrenner was in the 90s. What I've learned from creating this business of the Prop Queen brand is you have to be a really good salesperson without sounding like a salesperson. The Yankees keep trying to sell like they're the Yankees of the 90s, but they're not. You haven't won a World Series since 2009 with a team of players that are already in the Hall of Fame. That's how long they've been retired. The Dodgers have been winning. They've been in it every year, and everyone wants to win. But clearly the Dodgers are doing a much better job of promoting themselves to these star players. The Dodgers, clearly there's something likable about this team that nobody else can figure the F out. Because 3 years ago, the Houston Astros were just as much of a contender as the Dodgers. The Dodgers, remember, everyone was mad that the Dodgers kept making it but not winning it, except the COVID year. And then now, the Dodgers reigning champs. I don't think the Dodgers are ruining baseball. I just think the Dodgers are doing things right. The Dodgers are smart. I give them all the credit in the world. The New York Yankees, not so much. The Mets, not so much. The big news of today, of course, is that I'm going to say talking baseball. I'm heated. The Dodgers aren't ruining the sport, and the Mets are still dumb. The New York Mets. Let's talk about the Mets. This is my complete, unbiased New York opinion. The Mets are stupid. The New York Mets go and get Bo Bichette. Was the Mets lineup really the problem? No. Their pitching is. I'm going to go through the Mets starting rotation right now. They just pissed me off. I'm not even a Mets fan. You all know I'm a diehard Yankees fan. But this is complete unbiased. Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, Frankie Montas, Clay Holmes, and David Peterson are currently the starting rotation depth chart. Last year, the Mets thought that they were going to wait it out for Kodai Senga, who was supposed to be their ace. He couldn't even make it through the full season. They literally ended up DFAing. He wasn't even on the start. He wasn't even on the team by the end of the year. So what are we waiting for? Framber Valdez? Maybe if the Mets go and get Framber Valdez, I'll shut the F up. But they haven't. I had people in my DMs today when I posted to Instagram at Ari Epst, if you don't follow me there. I posted the video about how the New York Mets, congratulations, you got another bat for your lineup. When are we going to learn that an offense doesn't win you championships, defenses do? When will we learn? Mets fans are like, you're acting as if there isn't another 2 months before opening day. No, I'm acting as if the Mets haven't gotten a starting pitcher in 3 years. It's not about this year. It's not, the Mets got Bo Bichette, now they'll do nothing. It's the Mets haven't done anything in 3 years. Sean Manaea, that was it. Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea had a good second half a couple of years ago when the Mets went on their little hot run and they lost in the NLCS, remember? Because they have no pitching. Sean Manaea is a below average pitcher who continues to make it through the season, through Major League Baseball somehow because he's a lefty. Congratulations. Sean Manaea has had, 1 or 2 good years of his career and everything else has been mediocre or below average. Kodai Senga probably not on the team. Clay Holmes was literally a closer until last year. David Peterson is a number 4 pitcher. Who is pitching for you? Nobody. Congratulations. You'll be the Sacramento Kings of a few years ago. You'll be the Detroit Lions of a few years ago. A team that, if you're lucky, can make it to the first round of the playoffs and lose because you have no pitching. The Kings, they were the best offense in the NBA a few years ago. They were outscoring people left and right, but their defense couldn't stop anybody. So they were winning 140 to 135. The Detroit Lions, great offense, one of the best in the NFL a few years ago. Defensively, one of the worst. Secondary, terrible. Every team, even the Dodgers last year, right? You could argue they didn't have a solid ace. That was the concern. Did they have a solid ace? And yes, everyone in LA got hot at the right time on the pitching staff, especially the bullpen. But everyone on that rotation was a solid 2-3 starter. It's kind of what the Orioles were trying to go for, but it didn't work. Solid 2-3 starter. So maybe if you have 4 solid 2 to 3 starters, that works. Pitchers that could go 5-6 consistently. But the problem with the New York Mets is all their pitchers have a really good shot of not making it out of the 4th inning. So far. As for the New York Yankees, who have done nothing, now Cody Bellinger. Are the Yankees going to sign Bellinger? Because if they do not, you will see Yankee Stadium burned down by its fans. Like, there may be Yankee fans that go up to the Bronx and start burning down the building. Because if you can't get Cody Bellinger back, then what do you have? You're waiting for Garrett Cole to return. That's great. You've got a great starting rotation if you're the Yankees. If Garrett Cole returns, you got him, Max Fried, Carlos Rodon's fine. Who else am I missing? Luis Heel. You've got some solid pitching. But your bullpen sucks. So yet again, the Yankees' bullpen still sucks. Even if you re-sign Cody Bellinger. I know everyone's like, oh, he's going to be worth so much money because of what Kyle Tucker just signed with the Dodgers. Sure. But what's your other option? Sucking? Having nobody to protect Aaron Judge in the lineup? Nobody? You got to sign him. I don't care. And honestly, here's where I don't understand. Everyone's like, oh, it's not worth the money. It's not your money. The Yankees will be fine. If Cody Bellinger signs with the Yankees and they have to give him a lot of money, the Yankees will be just fine. It's not like we're talking about the Kansas City Royals. We're not talking about the Tampa Bay Rays. We're talking about the New York freaking Yankees and the New York freaking Mets, who have all the freaking money in the world to compete with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Why are the Dodgers able to do it and the Yankees and the Mets are not? Explain it to me. The money's invisible. I know it's technically not, but it kind of is. Come on. If the Dodgers could figure it out, so can the other powerhouse teams, the biggest market in the world. It is so stupid. So no, the Dodgers aren't ruining baseball. They're taking advantage of baseball. That's big business. Congratulations. Great job, Dodgers. You're fantastic. You are smart. You know how to bring people in. You know how to hire people. You know how to be a good salesperson. You have figured out the system. And anyone who knows how to figure out the system deserves to win. Because everyone else seems to be falling behind. What I would love to interview. I would love to interview the Dodgers. I would love to be a fly on the wall of the Dodgers. How do they get people in? What do they tell them? Versus what everyone else is telling everyone. Because to be blatantly honest, I don't understand why nobody else can get anybody except the Dodgers. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Let's bring on mid-major Matt, who's just as frustrated as I am. But I don't know. Like, I'm not mad at the Dodgers for going after everybody and winning. That's good. Good on them. It's so bad for everybody else, Matt, that the Phillies, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, no one can figure out how to outbid the Dodgers.
It's the deferrals, I think. I mean, I think it's the Dodgers get creative financially because they're not really probably paying him $60 million this year. They're probably paying him 30 and then deferring some or whatever. It's the creativity that they have, and it's the fact that you can basically promise a World Series. That's all.
Sure. And a lot of other teams could say, we're always in it. We're always in a playoff run. Deferrals, fine. Why is no one else getting creative? Like, I feel bad for the small market teams. We always can. But these big market teams, anyone could compete against the Dodgers. They're just not willing to do so. And I think it's a cocky problem.
Yeah, I mean it's a everything problem. I mean the players deserve some of the blame too. I mean, let's be honest, he's not worth $60 million. It's not his fault somebody's offering 60 million, and what the Mets were offering 50. But I mean, the Mets, the players deserve some blame in this too for overvaluing it. It's like how the quarterback
was it the players or is it the agents? It's obviously the agents.
Well, the agents too, but it's like how the quarterback market is insane in the NFL. Like the contracts that some of the quarterbacks are getting are ridiculous, and it's because everybody wants to top everybody else. I mean, when the Phillies signed Bryce Harper to the deal, what was it 13, 315 or whatever it was insane then. Now it's a bargain compared to everybody else.
Well, that's always how it works. You're talking about your Phillies, by the way. What are they doing? It looks like they're going to sign your favorite catcher.
Yeah, they decided they had Bo Bichette was in a Phillies jersey, and then all of a sudden they lost him to the Mets, and so they countered by saying, well, we'll take 97-year-old JT Realmuto, who's fine for the pitching staff, but he's not worth $15 million. They don't need to sign him for 3 years. Like, that's just dumb. It's dumb business, and that's what the Phillies are. Dave Dombrowski's a terrible general manager. He is send him back to Boston, right? That's where he had the most success. Was it Boston or Chicago? Wherever it was, send him back there. Yeah, I'm tired of.
He was supposed to be the next Theo Epstein.
Yeah, well, he's not. He's a loser. I mean, I could do a better job, and I don't even.
What would you do, Matt?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have gotten Bo Bichette done. The other contingent part of Bo Bichette was they had to trade Alec Boehm. They had to clear money, and they couldn't do it. So the Mets came in, and the Phillies won't give them deferral or opt-outs. The Mets gave an opt-out.
Kyle Tucker had a bunch of opt-outs in the contract.
Right, and the Phillies won't do that, and that's huge because these players want to be in free agency as many times as possible. Well, the Phillies were going to sign him for $7 for $200, which is a lot of money, but that might be Bo Bichette's last contract or second to last contract. Now with the Mets, he can get 2 or 3 more.
The NL East is interesting this year because the Braves, who knows if they could stay healthy? Phillies always in it and always let us down. Mets have no pitching, but the lineup somehow keeps them in a season until the end. Where do you see the NL East going?
I 100% think that it's the Mets to win.
Really?
I can't. I think the Phillies finished third. I really do.
What?
I think the Braves are ahead of them. I mean,
why are you so down on the Phillies?
Because it's the same old team. It's the same old. I mean, we don't know if Zach Wheeler's gonna be ready for opening day. We think he is, but he had the injury last year.
Your Phillies have the shortest odds at +150.
Yeah, that's dumb. Don't do that. Nobody do that. The better bet is to take the Phillies not to make the playoffs. Now, this might change outside of the heat of the moment, but last year I wasn't a fan of them because they were old and they hit enough, and Kyle Schwarber had a huge year and they did enough and they got into the postseason and they blew it. Like, to me, that means let's change things. And Adolis Garcia, I mean, I guess he could be good, but he could also be Max Kepler. He could also be, I forget who we got 2 years ago. The Phillies love getting these guys who were good at one point, but aren't as good as they were, and hope that they will get back to it. Apparently, Max Kepler needed steroids because remember, he got popped for the steroids. He's out like the first 80 games this coming season. So the Phillies just love getting these guys who used to be good and aren't as good as they used to be.
Well, the NL East picture is interesting because you've got the Phillies at +150 on FanDuel, Braves +175, Mets +220. Then, of course, the big drop off to the Marlins and the Nats. What would you like to see the Phillies do with what's available on the board now?
I don't know. I mean, maybe trade for Ketel Marte. I know the Diamondbacks have said he's not available. I don't really want Cody Bellinger because they're going to overpay for Cody Bellinger. And Cody Bellinger was good. Remember, he was an MVP.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's as good as he used to be. And he's going to want too much money and too many years. And the Phillies are old enough as it is. I would spend this season, if Bryce Harper doesn't start the season well, I would secretly ask him if he wants out of his no trade clause and see if you can trade some of these old guys. Because Kyle Schwarber, don't get me wrong, Kyle Schwarber was awesome last year. He was terrible in the playoffs, though. If you look at his career the last couple of years, Kyle Schwarber, I know the fans will never tell you this because they love Kyle Schwarber and they don't think he ever does anything wrong. But in the postseason, the last couple of years, he's been brutal. So I'd like to see the Phillies get younger. I'd like to see the Phillies go out. That's why Bichette would have been perfect because he's 27, but they instead love their 30-somethings, and they're going to be old. And it's going to be just like the Phillies dynasty when they had Ryan Howard and Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. They all got old. They didn't realize it. They had terrible seasons, and they all went out with a whimper, unfortunately.
Major League Baseball is approaching soon, and it's starting to heat up that hot stove. We'll keep you posted on everything as it comes out. Cody Bellinger, the next domino to fall. College football playoff, Monday. You can't come on shows really anymore on Monday, so we haven't spoken too much about it yet, except Andy Lang, who came on, who's a big IU fan. Indiana, Miami, that game, January 19th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. IU's laying a pretty hefty number for a natty, around 8.5. Is it too many points?
I think it is. These are two of the slowest.
No one wants to believe in Miami, even now.
Well, so I think everybody, because there's this stupid thing going around that everybody's somehow, ooh, is this an all-time team in college football history? This is not even a top 20 all-time college football team. This is not even, they're very good, don't get me wrong, but the all-time teams don't have close games at Iowa and a close game against ODU in week 1. It's a very good team, don't get me wrong. But like Miami, the reason why this game's going to be close in my mind, these are two of the slowest teams in the country. They both average around 30 seconds per play, 29 seconds or so per play. There's not going to be a ton of possessions in this game. And to me, all Miami has to do is score, 17 points, I think, and they can cover this number. Now, look, Indiana can outclass them. They can win 24-10. Kurt Signetti could have the best game plan of all time, and this game could be a blowout. But I really think there's not going to be a lot of possessions in this game. I have one wager so far. I took over 13.5 points for Indiana in the first half. Miami's going to be without one of their corners due to that terrible targeting penalty in the second half of the last game. I think Indiana takes advantage of it. If you can bet like Fernando Mendoza to have a first half touchdown, I'd look at it. I think Indiana's going to come out firing through the air early to take advantage of it. That's not to say Miami doesn't have a good secondary in general, but like I think Indiana early is going to try and throw all over Miami. So when it got to 13.5, I took a little bit on DraftKings for the over for the first half. I don't know. I'm still working through all the stuff. The guy that I like player prop wise is Charlie Becker, who is the third wide receiver for Indiana. He's a guy that's come on as of late. He's had 2 catches in each of the 2 playoff games, but he's had long receptions. There's like 30 yards plus, I think, in each game. He's a guy that has developed a lot of chemistry with Fernando Mendoza, and I think a lot of attention is going to go to Omar Cooper and Elijah Surratt. JMU guy, thank you. Not a safety hazard. But I think Charlie Becker is going to have a nice game in this contest. So his number is 2.5 reception-wise. I think I'm going to play over 2.5 here. I got to find a place where the juice is reasonable. But I like Charlie Becker. I think if there's an MVP sort of bet, Mendoza's probably going to win. But if he doesn't, Charlie Becker might be a guy who gets involved a lot in this game.
You know we love our props, Matt. Let's switch over to the NFL where we've got the divisional round of the playoffs. Go game by game. We'll see what you got. This Bills-Broncos game, the Broncos ended up flipping from a 1.5-point home dog to a 1.5-point favorite. Average total of 46.5. What'd you see from a prop perspective?
I mean, this game is perfect for the teaser. I mean, look, I would love to know how many people will have the Buffalo plus 7.5 teaser in their pocket. I mean, yeah. I think that this is, this would be the one thing if I'm the sports books I'm worrying about, because everybody's going to have the teaser with them and probably Seattle. Heck, you might even throw Indiana in there. Maybe you have a 3-team 7-point teaser and you're basically asking for Seattle to win, Buffalo to cover 8.5, and Indiana basically to win. But this will be an interesting game because everybody's going to lean to the Josh Allen side of things. And I think Bo Nix is going to have a pretty good game in this situation. Buffalo does not give up a lot of field goals. Denver does. So if you want to potentially look on the Buffalo side of things when it comes to field goals, if they trust their kicker, it's obviously a game in Denver. So therefore, longest field goal always comes into play, especially with the guys nowadays. Everybody's making 60-yard field goals. Well, if you're in Denver, you add a little bit more to that.
So you like field goals?
Probably in this game, yeah. More on the Buffalo side than the Denver side. You could get a benefit early on, especially because if Denver's a little rusty, maybe they move down. The red zone offense isn't as good. Maybe you get an early field goal from the Denver side of things. But this Denver defense is really good, and they don't break in the red zone. So I think that Buffalo should settle for at least one of them.
San Francisco and Seattle is the next game, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Seahawks laying a touchdown, as you said, a lower total of 44.5. Anything here?
I don't know if I can accurately do this game because I'm still angry about last week. But if I'm Seattle, hopefully you cover Kyle Juszczyk. They're going to turn him into Kittle. The Eagles wouldn't do that. Hopefully you cover Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Christian McCaffrey's receiving numbers are going to be too high.
Yeah.
But like, it feels like he could come out of this game with 10 catches. Like, he could do everything in this game. His rushing and receiving yards over could be a play here. But like, you would hope that Seattle would sell out for him and basically say, all right, Jennings, all right, Demarcus Robinson. Oh, I can't believe we lost to Demarcus Robinson. But like, you would think that they'd basically be like, all right, we're going to one-on-one these guys and put like 7 guys on McCaffrey. I can't imagine that San Francisco scores a ton here. I probably will look at San Francisco's team total under in this situation. I just think, literally, considering they just played a couple weeks ago and with George Kittle, they couldn't score. I feel like this could be, I feel like San Francisco could run out of gas, basically. And just because they run
injuries and we just keep waiting for them to run out of gas and they never freaking do.
I'm looking here. So 19.5 at under for their points at -125. I mean, Seattle knows them better. They're going to have a good game plan. McDonald's a good defensive coach. I like under 19.5 for the 49ers here, team total wise.
Sunday, Houston at the Patriots. This one's a game that's probably going to be won in the trenches. 2 teams that defensively looked really good. How much is the defense going to come into play here that you'd be looking at some unders?
Well, I mean, I'm 100% looking at the Patriots team total under. I just can't. My thing is, I can't trust CJ Stroud. I can't. CJ Stroud tried to lose that game on Monday. He really did. I mean, with the dropping of the snaps and with all the other stuff, the interceptions, all that's like, he was just not good. The fumbles, all that stuff. So like, this is why we have a show like this. And this is why we tell people sides and the totals are great, but there are other markets to take advantage of. I think the Houston defense is the best defense remaining in football. Well, the Houston offense isn't good enough for me to want to take the 3.5. So I'm just going to take the team total under for the Patriots here and back the one unit in this game that I trust. I mean, I'm looking here. I can get Patriots under 23.5 at -145. I can get under 22.5 at -115. To me, that's what I'm looking at here, because as long as Stroud doesn't give them a short field, I don't know if the Patriots can move the ball up and down long drives against this Houston defense.
If you're looking at some unders, would you be looking at field goal props in this game?
So the weather, from what I could tell, is pretty good. I mean, I think other than it's going to be a little bit cold. I'm looking here. There's light snow potentially, but it's only like 10 to 20%. No wind. So that's something that certainly goes in their favor. If you look, Houston's defense is top 5 in least field goals attempted against them, 1.6 per game. It's 1.8 on the road. New England is actually number 1. New England is allowing 1.3 field goal attempts per game at home, less than a field goal per game. So probably not. Numbers tell me that while I think this is going to be a lower scoring game, the numbers say that field goals aren't going to be points either here. So I'm not telling people to take the under on the field goals. I'm just not running to take the over here because the numbers say these are the top 2 of the top 5 teams in least field goals attempted against them.
Curious about this last game because we're going to the Windy City with the Chicago Bears hosting the LA Rams. Windy City, field goals, doesn't sound like those two would go hand in hand.
So here's the funny thing that makes me angry when I hear people talk about this game. I'm not really angry. Like I don't get angry over this.
Not like Philly's angry, not Eagles angry, but
correct. It's like frustrating. So I think it's funny that everybody talks about how, the Rams don't want to be outside. It's really cold and the snow and the wind. They're not used to this stuff. Do you think the Bears are going to be happy to play in that kind of temperature, in that kind of weather? Like, no one's going to be happy.
Your home crowd.
Sure.
And amped up.
The home crowd is not going to be happy either. And all you're going to hear is people clapping through their gloves and their scarves. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to use the fact that the Rams are a West Coast team and the fact that this game's outside and it's going to be cold as like this deciding factor, because I can't imagine a lot of the Bears players would be happy. Let me ask you this. If you're the Bears, would you rather be playing in the cold temperatures and the weather that's going to be there on Sunday, or would you rather be playing in the Dome in Los Angeles with half of your fans there anyway, because the Rams have no home field advantage, and you're playing on a fast track where guys like DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai and Rome Odunze can go and run like track stars?
I feel like the
indoors.
adrenaline of them being home, maybe they do put it in their heads that they'll be in like have an advantage. Like maybe they don't care. I don't know. If you have a chance to play in a conference championship game, the truth is I don't think anyone cares.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying it's not a handicapping advantage for the
Yeah,
Bears.
I don't use it either. I know people say it. Maybe it would stop me from laying 3.5 with the Rams, but it certainly isn't going to stop me from betting props that I feel work.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying it's funny because everybody's like, well, I like the Bears because they're in the weather and the Rams don't like weather.
I just think any 3.5 in this round is trying to bait you into taking points, but that's just me. What about props? Any props you like?
So I mean, basically, isn't this the game like where you take the Rams in the first half and then the Bears come back and win in the second half by some sort of magic or whatever? Like it feels like the Bears purposely let teams get ahead of them only so they can come back. I mean, it's just the Bears have this magic surrounding them right now. And we watch the Rams defense let the Carolina Panthers move up and down the field on them. It's just, I think this is this is the toughest game of the weekend, I think, because the Rams are just that much better. But it's hard to get consistency from the Rams and their defense. If you're not getting pressure with that defense, they're going to give up a lot of points in this game. So I'm looking to see real quick while we're standing here what the touchdowns number. So the Bears is 2.5, the Rams is 3.5. I kind of like the Bears over 2.5 touchdowns in this game. I think the Bears will score some points on that Rams defense. They don't scare me enough outside of that front four.
Do you want to stay and do propaganda with me?
I got about like 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes.
Oh, no, I'll let you go then. You have a show. You're on your show.
I am doing a show. There's a taped interview playing right now.
Thanks so much, Matt. We appreciate you. It's fine. I'll let you go for propaganda. Mid-major Matt, as always, here on a Friday. We appreciate you and all the props and info you give us. Get back to your show before you miss the guest segment. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
Yep.
He always does that. It's so great. Matt is so good at, like, he has an interview running so he could run on to our show and then he'll run back in his studio. It's so nice of him. We've got NFL propaganda, and I'm going to see if they posted NBA real quick for tonight. I have NBA prop edges as well that we'll get to. That's January 15th. I need January 16th. Nope, tennis. BetMGM. I'm just seeing if, here it is today. Okay. Since we're already on the topic, I guess we'll do NFL propaganda, then we'll do NBA propaganda and NBA edges. My eye keeps tearing, so my makeup is all over my face, and it's very annoying, and I have makeup all up here. I don't know what is going on, but my eyes keep tearing. No one cares. Let's get to the most bet on props of the day and the weekend. It is propaganda. Starting with the NFL. NFL. Most bet on props of the weekend. Woody Marks under 56.5 rushing yards. Oh, we have breaking news too. Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, lawyers have officially filed his suit and his injunction for eligibility in 2026. So nothing happened, but they filed a suit. That'll take forever. Woody Marks under his rushing yards. Ramondre Stevenson over his receiving yards. Everyone caught on to the Jake Tondres replacing Kittle number, so I guess we might stay away. Sam Darnold under his longest pass completion. I think Darnold actually has a great game. Kyren Williams over 1.5 receptions. I'm actually fading Kyren Williams in the receiving yards game. Let me just see real quick what I've got on Woody Marks. NFL Divisional Round. I don't think anything really stood out to me about Woody Marks this week, to be honest. Yeah, nothing stood out to me. And I feel like a lot of people, I know it's like the most bet on prop of the weekend is Woody Marks under because it's the Patriots defense. But no Nico Collins this week, and I would have to see on props.cash. I could check real quick. We have time. Let's see what props.cash has to say about how Woody Marks' numbers are impacted by his wide receiver being out. And I know that it's a running back versus a wide receiver, but you just never know. Let me just see real quick. Nico Collins. Christian, there we go. Rushing yards without Nico Collins this year. 1-1, not a big difference. Under his rush attempts of 15.5, he went under there. Receiving yards, 1-1. Receptions, 2-0. So he caught 2 balls out of the backfield in both games that he's played without Nico Collins. But everyone's on the under rushing yards. It's the most bet on prop of the weekend. It's a little fishy to me. Ramondre Stevenson, they like his over on receiving yards. I only had the rushing yards numbers that stood out to me and some of those unders. I thought that it was interesting that Ramondre Stevenson's rushing yards number was 37.5, but he's gone over 40 rushing yards in 6 straight games. So I thought that was a little fishy. Maybe they do use more in the passing game, but that is one of the most bet on props. Again, the Jake Tonjes number, he's gone over 33.5 receiving yards in every game without George Kittle that he's played. And everyone seems to know it. So maybe Mark Zinno has the right approach about the Kyle Juszczyk prop. Sam Darnold, I would not be betting any unders on Sam Darnold in this game because the Niners have allowed the 10th most passing yards per game this year. So I'm actually looking at some of those Sam Darnold overs this weekend. Despite the oblique injury, I'm sure he'll be okay. But the Niners this year have allowed 53% of quarterbacks go over their passing yards prop. They've allowed 71% to go over their completions prop. I know this is a longest pass, but he's at home and against a secondary that's been suspect. And then again, Kyren Williams for the Rams in the last game against the Bears. I was on the under Kyren Williams receiving yards. He's up against the Bears D that's allowing the 10th least receiving yards per game with 60% of running backs going under the receiving yard prop. So everyone likes over 1.5 receptions, which I understand, but he's only really he's gone under 2. He's had 2 or less in 3 of the 4 against teams top 10 against pass catching backs. I get he could potentially have 2, but since I'm on the under receiving yards, I would definitely be fading the public there. I don't think he's going to be in the game as much. Now we've got propaganda for the association tonight. And before we get to this, just remember, the NFL prop guide is out on thepropqueen.com. You go to thepropqueen.com, click newsletter, and you could subscribe, and you'll get the cheat sheet for free. And you'll also get the Prop Queen guide that you could buy for $8.99, which gives you a list of all of my longest my whole long list of props. If you want the condensed version for free, you could subscribe to the Prop Queen Media YouTube channel. Go to the Prop Queen Media on YouTube, and you can subscribe there. And on the Prop Queen YouTube Media channel, I have all the Prop Queen edges for the weekend of my top ones. I gave out about 10 of them, some of my favorite props going into the weekend. So definitely check that out. I did it on yesterday's show, and then I cut it up for YouTube, put it onto YouTube at the Prop Queen Media YouTube channel. So all the NFL props are already posted to there. Definitely you could go see it there because I'm just going to talk NBA today. These are the most bet on player props in the association. Trey Murphy over total points and rebounds. Desanmu over his points, rebounds, and assists. Michael Porter Jr. over 25.5 points. Naz Reid under 5.5 boards. And Zion over points and rebounds. I'm going to tell you my problem with some of these. So a lot of these teams played each other within the last month. Trey Murphy, I definitely have. Let me see what I have on Trey Murphy. Come on. Why aren't you showing up? Trey. There we go. So actually, everyone's on the points and rebounds, but you'll see in Prop Queen Edges, I'm on his rebounds plus assists. I didn't love the points so much. I didn't see it go over as consistently. But then when it came to Michael Porter Jr., in the last game that Michael Porter Jr. had in this matchup, what is it? That's the Nets and the Bulls. He had a big game. And I don't like to bet the same results twice, so I'm staying away from MPJ. Same thing for Zion. His last matchup for the New Orleans Pelicans, when the Pelicans went up against the Pacers just a few weeks ago, it was the same story. Zion had a big game. So I'm staying away from anybody who had a big game. If they played that team within the same month, stay away. These are the games that I have Prop Queen Edges in. Let me just tweet out real quick that I'm doing Prop Queen Edges of the day. NBA Prop Queen Edges of the day. Okay. starting with this game between the Pelicans and the Pacers, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Pacers are laying 4, total 241.5. Buyer beware. The Pacers are on the front leg of a back-to-back. They go on the road to Detroit tomorrow to face Shawn Michaels' Pistons. Starting with the Pacers shooting guard Andrew Nembhard, over 17.5 points. He only had 7 points on December 20th in the last game against the Pelicans, but yet the prop's 17.5, so isn't that kind of telling? Benedict Mathurin played in that game too, and now he's out tonight. Nembhard's averaging 19.5 points per game without Mathurin and 16 with him. The Pelicans allow the third most points per game this year. 58% of shooting guards have gone over their points prop against the Pelicans. 43% went over as power forwards, so it doesn't look as great for Pascal Siakam, even though his number's pretty high for his points prop. If he was on the road, I'd actually take Siakam, but his home road splits are drastic, and he does not shoot the ball as well at home. On the road, it would be different. I was actually willing to take an over if this was a road game, but it is not. So Andrew Nembhard over his points for the Pacers tonight. For the Pels, their small forward Trey Murphy. The only thing I don't love about the over 9.5 rebounds plus assists is that he had 10 in the last game. So this number's still at 9.5, juice to the over. He's averaging like 10.5 rebounds plus assists on the road this year. He's actually gone over Trey Murphy, his 9.5 rebounds plus assists, in 73% of road games. He's not shooting the ball as well on the road, which is why in propaganda I did not like the Trey Murphy over points because his home road splits. If it was home, different story. But on the road, he is not shooting the ball well. But Murphy's averaging just under 7 rebounds per game on the road and 4 assists. So that's about 10 to 11 rebounds plus assists. The Pacers are allowing the third most rebounds per game. 60% of small forwards have gone over their rebound plus assist prop in the last 10 games against the Pacers. So Trey Murphy over. Cavaliers and Sixers. Sixers laying 3, total 233.5. Sixers are home. These two just played 2 nights ago. Darius Garland's out, though, with a foot injury. Again, what should have happened in game 1 that didn't should now happen in game 2. Cleveland center Jared Allen, terrible on the boards in the last game. It was the Evan Mobley show on the boards, who had 13 rebounds. But yet Jared Allen is averaging just under 10 rebounds per game against the Sixers in his career. Even with Evan Mobley, that number's about the same. Allen's gone over in 6 of his last 8 games against Philly, 3 of 4 in Philly. So again, Mobley had the big game. But the last game so Jared Allen played Joel Embiid the last 2 times. The last one was obviously Wednesday where he sucked. The game before that, Allen had 13 rebounds, and that was with Evan Mobley. The 76ers are still allowing the 10th most rebounds per game. So I'm going to go with the over on Jared Allen this time. Now he'll have the big game on the boards. Tyrese Maxey. He has sucked the last, back-to-back home games? Not sucked. He had a 22-point game. The other game sucked. But 22 is below average for Tyrese Maxey this year. His points prop's 26.5. His 3-point prop's 3.5, plus money to the over, plus 135. Well, Maxey's averaging about 4 threes a game this year when he's up against teams that are a bottom 10 perimeter defense. The points is where I get a little sketched out, but I truthfully think since these two just faced each other 2 days ago at home in Philly, and now again Tyrese Maxey's getting the same opponent at home in Philly, that the book is telling us that Tyrese Maxey's going off tonight. 28 points, 4 or 5 threes against the Cavs team that's allowing the 10th most points per game, 8th most threes per game. Tyrese Maxey over or nothing for me. Bulls, Nets. Nets laying 2 at home, total 225.5. Josh Giddey's still out with a hamstring injury. These two teams played December 3rd in Chicago. Brooklyn won 113-103. The Bulls point guard, Trey Jones, he's been great the last few games, dishing the ball out 7 and 8 times. He's averaging 7 assists per game without the team's assist leader in Giddey. He's only averaging 5 assists per game with Giddey, but without Giddey, it's up to 7. Since Jones didn't play the last game against Brooklyn due to a sprained left ankle, he should pick up the assists for Giddey, who had an 11-assist performance in the last game against Brooklyn. The Nets are allowing the 10th most assists per game. 53% of point guards have gone over their assist prop in the last 10 against the Nets. So maybe go Trey Jones over his assists for the Bulls. Fishy line alert. Ooh, I'm going to run the fishy line graphic. I don't really get to run it a lot. Fishy line graphic. This is a fishy line. Nick Claxton's rebound prop makes absolutely no sense because he's got a 7.5 rebound prop, but he's got over 7.5 rebounds in 5 straight games against the Bulls. So as much as the Bulls have struggled all year against centers, in the last 10 games, 9 of the last 10 centers have actually gone under their rebound prop against Chicago. So I smell a fishy line in this rematch since Nick Claxton went over this number in the last game, and he's gone over it in 5 straight against the Bulls. It makes no sense. So I would be very weary of this 7.5 number on Nick Claxton. It seems a little too good to be true against the Bulls team that's been better in limiting rebounds to centers so far. I am not handicapping the Clippers and Toronto game because we've got the Clippers. Kawhi is out. Zubats and John Collins are questionable. Toronto, Emmanuel Quickley's questionable. RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl are out. So I have absolutely zero interest in this game. Minnesota and Houston, we can take advantage of some injuries. Anthony Edwards is dealing with an infection in his toe, so he is out tonight for Minnesota. Who benefits from that? Julius Randle rebounds does. So Julius Randle's rebounds, he's averaging 8 rebounds a game without Anthony Edwards, and his prop 6.5. In fact, he's gone over in 6 of 8 games, including both against the top 10 defense. So they face 2 top 10 defenses, which is, of course, they're getting Houston, a huge team, great defense this year, one of the best in the NBA. So how does Julius Randle do in those spots? Well, they face 2 teams without Anthony Edwards, Golden State and Brooklyn, that are top 10 in points allowed. Julius Randle had 9 and 11 rebounds in those games without Anthony Edwards. Randle's had 8 or more rebounds in 2 of his last 3 games against the Rockets. So I'm going to go over there on Julius Randle rebounds tonight. Offensively, Jaden McDaniels has benefited from no Anthony Edwards. He's gone over 15.5 points in 6 of 8 games without him, including 22 and 17 against the Warriors and the Nets, the 2 top 10 defenses they face without Ant-Man. He's also had over 2.5 assists in 5 of the last 6 games without Ant-Man, 4 of those 6 with 5+ assists. So this number at 2.5 is really low. I know it's tough. It's the Houston Rockets, great defense, but he's proven it before. So maybe over assists, maybe over points. I'm a little more scared about the points for Jaden McDaniels against Houston. Maybe it's 2.5 assists we take advantage of. The big men in Houston, because Minnesota, I was curious about, because Minnesota's top 10 in rebounds allowed. So they're not allowing a lot of rebounds to their opponents. Of course, you've got Julius Randle in Minnesota. You've got Rudy Gobert. So how do the bigs in Houston do against a tougher opponent? Well, Jabari Smith Jr. is the one that benefits. Over 14.5 points, over 6.5 rebounds. He's averaging, Jabari Smith Jr., 15 points per game against the top 10 defense this year, 17 points a game at home against the top 10 defense, and 9 rebounds. They take Alperen Sengun out of the game in Houston. Sengun, I would go under 20.5 points. He's only averaging about just under 19 points a game overall against the top 10 defense, and at home that drops to just about 17 points a game. He's also averaging about 9 rebounds, which is right around that 9.5 prop, and 6 to 6.5 assists, which is his 6.5 assist prop. The points are off. So unless Alperen Sengun, which he can, he's mini joker, again, on any given moment, he could go off. But the numbers are telling me Jabari Smith Jr. is the offensive producer, and Alperen Sengun is not on these kinds of nights, and he should go under. Again, the only difference would be if Minnesota is completely lost without Anthony Edwards and someone decides to not play defense because they have to play a more offensive role. But I'm just going to stick to the numbers like I always do in the NBA. And Jabari Smith overs, Alperen Sengun under points is the way I would play those bigs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So what are my favorite bets of the night? This is Royal Locks. Did not have a time to make a graphic for my Royal Locks because I was rushing to get on air. My favorite of the night's probably Julius Randle over 6.5 rebounds. The number is just really off for a player that's averaging about 8 rebounds a game without Anthony Edwards. He's also gone over with 9 and 11 rebounds against top 10 defenses without Anthony Edwards this year. So I really like Julius Randle over his rebounds tonight. I like the Jabari Smith points, the Sengun under points as well. So I'd be looking in those directions. But again, you could check out, Jared Allen over 8.5 rebounds too. I really like that one since he has a really good history against Philly. And Evan Mobley had the big night 2 nights ago against the Sixers. So now it's Jared Allen's turn who had 13 rebounds the game prior to that against Joel Embiid. So we'll go over there. 8.5 rebounds tonight for the center, Jarrett Allen. That's what I got for you guys. Again, check out the YouTube channel. It's free if you want some of my favorite plays in the NFL for the props in the divisional round. Prop Queen Media is where you could find those free NFL props for the weekend. If you want it sent directly to your inbox, it's already there. The propqueen.com newsletter. You could subscribe to the propqueen.com newsletter. Check it out. And that would be awesome if you guys would get those Prop Queen guides. And it's included in the premium membership. So check it out there. Good luck to your bets tonight, everyone. I will see you guys on Monday or on Last Call on Sunday. But again, I will be talking to my subscribers on the newsletter every day this weekend about how all the props move. I always say how all the props move every day from the Prop Queen guide, which was earlier this week, to now. So you'll see how the props move if it's for or against us. Anything else? Yeah, I mean, it's going to be NFL all weekend. NBA props are out on the newsletter if you missed anything. So good luck again. I will see you guys either Sunday or Monday here on the Prop.